In this video, I'm going to show you how to multiply two polynomials together. And if you notice here, you're going to have a binomial times a binomial. So I'm going to show you two methods, one called the claw method and then another one called the box method. So what I'm going to do is first start with our claw method, I call it. And I'm going to rewrite my question here, multiplying x minus 8 times x plus 8. And what we're going to do for the claw method is multiply your first term times your first term, so x times x, and then multiply our first term times our outside term, or 8 times x. Multiply those two terms together. And then what we're going to do is multiply our negative 8 times x. And then our last term we're going to multiply here is going to be I thought I had another colored pencil, which I don't, so I'll just use regular pencil, negative 8 times 8. And so there's our four multiplying things. So if you're ready to multiply right away, you know, x times x gets you x squared, and 8 times x gives you 8x. And then negative 8 times x is negative 8x. And then negative 8 times positive 8 is negative 64. And then before you finish your expression, just combine any like terms together. So I notice these two terms are alike. And if I add them together, they're going to actually cancel out because they're opposites, positive 8 and negative 8. So my final answer is x squared minus 64. I'll show you another way to do the same problem, and it's called the box method. And if I have one expression, I'm just going to write it kind of on my paper here. And then what I'm going to do is going to make two columns because I have two terms. Now the other expression I'm going to write on the side, the x and the positive 8, and then I'm going to make two rows, and then I'm going to multiply just like I did over here. So this is where you see the x times x that I did in red, so x squared. Negative 8 times the x here is negative 8x, so that was my green one. X times positive 8 was 8x, that was my blue one. And then my pencil one here, negative 8 times 8 is negative 64. And you'll notice we're going to get the same answer either way, so I'm going to add like terms. And I get x squared minus 64. Same answer, just depends on which way kind of visually works better for you. Now here's another one, similar to what we did before. We have 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. So instead of color coding here, I'll just kind of show you the color. 2x times 2x, that's our first one. And then outside terms, so 2x times 3, and then negative 3 times 2x, and then, oh, I have another color. We have a negative 3 times 3. So these two multiply to make 4x squared, these two multiply to make 6x, these two multiply to make negative 6x, and those two multiply to make negative 9. Again, to get your final expression, you want to combine any like terms that you have. And in this case, I see that our middle terms also cancel out. So my expression will be 4x squared minus 9. Now you can do the same thing but with the box method, so kind of like what I had done here. So I'm going to write my first expression horizontally. And since there's two terms, I'm going to make two columns. And then I'm going to write my other expression going vertically. So a 2x and a positive 3. And then I'm going to make two rows because I had two terms. So a 2 by 2 makes 4 boxes. And then again, multiplying, you'll see we're going to get the same terms. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. The 2x times 3 is how I got this positive 6x. And then my negative 3 times 2x is how I got negative 6x, and negative 3 times 3 makes negative 9. So again, same four terms. You'll notice again those middle terms do cancel out, and we have 4x squared minus 9. And then I have one slight change to the next one. But before we get there, I kind of want to address something. Did you notice that these two expressions were very similar. You had an expression here with a minus, and then the same type of factor, but with a positive sign. And so when you have 1 plus and 1 minus, what happened was our middle ones canceled out. And that's kind of a special case here when you are factoring, or I'm sorry, not factoring, multiplying. Factoring would be dividing. So again, the same two factors, but one has a positive and one has a negative. Notice how those middle terms canceled out. But now take a look at what's going to be different here when our factors are identical. So this square means you have x plus 5 times a second x plus 5. And I would say it is so important that you write out twice. If you don't write it out twice, you're going to miss something. And so here's what I want to show you. X plus 5 times x plus 5. This is a 2-term binomial times a 2-term, a binomial, and 2 by 2 should make a 4-term box. And if you just apply that square, you're only going to get 2 terms, not the 4 that you need. And so that's super important. So x times x is our first multiplying, and then x times 5, and then another 5 times x, and then a 5 times a 5. So this first term gets multiplied by both of the terms in the other expression, and then the second term here gets multiplied again by both terms in the other expression. And so here, when I have my 4 terms, I have x squared plus 5x plus another 5x plus 25, which in total, when I add those like terms together, is x squared plus 10x plus 25. And if you were to assume that you just distribute your square here, you'd miss a middle term here of the 10x. Because if you think, oh, x squared is x squared and 5 squared is 25, you'll miss that you have a whole nother term that got combined from 2 terms. So it's super important. Again, I cannot stress enough, you got to write this out twice until you do them a million times, and then you know not to miss that middle term. So x plus 5 for my box method, there are 2 terms there. So I'm going to get a 2-column box, and then the other one, x in the 5. Again, I'll show you. The box method is just another way of getting the same exact answer. And maybe you think the box method is easier, so you could just do that method. X times x is our x squared. X times 5 is 5x. X times this 5 is 5x again, and 5 times 5 is 25. And if we add like terms together, 5 plus 5 is how we get that middle term of 10x. But again, that x squared is still there, and our 25 term is also still there. So our answers are identical no matter which method you choose. Choose the one that works best for you. Stay tuned for another video because I got a couple more to do. And again, I'm going to show you, I cannot stress enough, when you see that square, you gotta write it out twice.